Hello, welcome back to the Live Reality Games Podcast. My name is Stephen, and I'm here today with more Surviving Bloomington coverage. And with me to do so for episode 13 of Surviving Bloomington, we have our first back-to-back two-time guest host. Taylor, how are you doing?
I'm amazing. How are you, Stephen?
Doing well. I have many thoughts about this episode. And first of all, I have to congratulate you. You predicted on the dime what would happen.
I know. I went back like an hour ago to watch the last 5 minutes of our last recap because I was like, "Did I get this right? I think I may have."
You
And I did.
completely nailed it.
It came from you. Like, you were the catalyst of like, what if Jordan and Rosie get their advantage together and steal someone's vote? And then my prediction became Adam wins immunity and Griffin goes home. I was so happy to be right, but so sad for Griffin.
Oh my gosh, what a brutal episode.
Yeah.
It's like very rarely do you get like 1 second differential finishes, and we got that here.
Oh, yeah.
With Griffin having his win sniped. Well, Adam barely beating Griffin by 1 second. Oh my gosh.
I mean, of course he did though, right? Of course Adam won by 1 second.
Well, I figured we're gonna need to have our favorite phrase on repeat. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a banner. The repeat in the bottom. That'll just be the refrain of this podcast today is, and then Adam made everything complicated.
I'm sure he's
Because
loving that too. He's like, yeah, I did.
Oh man, because I guess it's for me this episode is twofold. It was Adam winning and then Rosie being like, "Yep, working with Jordan." I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. Yeah. Where should we begin? Where should we
I want to kind of pick your thoughts as an editor first, because it's not often I get to talk to people who are the storytellers and the editors of these episodes. So when you look at the material for an episode, how do you go about looking at organizing? Do you tackle challenges first, tribal councils first? Do you like watching through the confessionals? How do you approach it?
So, I mean, I don't know how other people do it, but what's it called? I log all the footage first before I start working on episodes. So I watch every single piece of footage and take notes on it. Like, how long is the clip? What's going on in the clip? And then I organize it in an Excel workbook. And like, I'm very organized so that, and this is the crazy part. Like, I have lost my mind. I transcribe every confessional. So that I can.
I mean, I love that. That's what I originally do when I watch these episodes.
So then I can write notes like, okay, I can use this confessional in this episode, but also in this episode, and maybe like Frankenstein some stuff together. So it seems like someone else is going home, that's a little bit more rare. But when it comes to making the episode, so I have like all the clips that I'm going to use for each, segment. The challenges are always the easiest to edit because it's like a set number of cameras and what's happening. And the challenging part is like cutting it down to a viewable length, I guess. And I always follow a formula with Surviving Maine, like I do like Camp Life, Challenge, Strategy Talk, Tribal Council. Like that's pretty much the basics of it. And then something that I've been wondering about Surviving Bloomington and like Casey's process, sometimes we're not getting confessionals from some people. And I wonder how much of that, because often for me, if someone's not getting confessionals, either they're really bad at confessionals and like don't know how to answer questions in like complete sentences so that you can edit it neatly into an episode, or there's some technical difficulty or some time constraint and you just don't have a confessional from somebody. So I wonder that about Hannah and Megan. We're not getting as many confessionals from them as we were in earlier episodes. And so I'm kind of like, is there a reason for this other than like maybe there just wasn't a confessional available?
It's interesting because I noticed that with Dallas through the merge is we didn't hear from him a lot. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it's because was he just not adding anything to beyond like what we heard from Megan and other players, or maybe there wasn't confessionals being captured. And this was an episode where we didn't hear from Hannah, and and you really felt it because you're just like, we knew Hannah had big plans at 7, they didn't go through. She can't be happy when if she's learning that Griffin's being targeted because that's her final 3. Where does she go from here?
Yeah, and so confusing because she gives Megan an extra bullet and then votes for Megan. So in my mind, like watching it go down, I was like, okay, is Hannah up to something? Like, is she just trying to get Megan to not vote?
Mm-hmm.
So then Megan ends up being the one with more votes.
Mm-hmm.
Like and Hannah's so strategic that I think that's, but we don't know. It's not clear.
So, oftentimes when watching CBS Survivor, there's a lot of discussion about the logic of the edit or the edgic, as well as like, is there a winner and how is it being portrayed? Like, you can watch the current season Survivor and you know that Carolyn is dominating the airtime. You have to wonder, like, is this because she's just entertaining, the most interesting, or are we supposed to follow her narrative to how she wins the game? And so, do you see yourself doing something like that when you edit your show, or do you try to step back and try to make it more fair in terms of like everyone's perspectives being heard?
Yeah, so I mean, it's mostly about fairness, especially like the pre-merge game. Like, I want to make sure everybody's in every episode and you're hearing from everyone at least something. I also don't want to make anyone look stupid. So if their confessionals are like telling a completely different story than what's actually going on, I'm not going to include that usually, unless I like really hate the person. Like, but I don't. Like,
you don't want to make people just sound stupid, right? Like that's not
no,
the goal.
I don't want people to sound stupid unless you're Forrest from Surviving Maine season 2 and you're just a jerk and everyone hates you. Then I'm gonna make you look really stupid. But no, nobody's like that. Like, he was such a weird person, not an LRG fan in general. Had never seen Survivor. He was just a weird guy. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like giving everyone a lot of airtime, and then also like there's misdirection in terms of, when I'm doing it, I want to misdirect in terms of just like making the boot of that episode a little surprising, at least for some people. But I don't want to misdirect so much that someone totally unexpected wins like they
Yeah.
did on season 41 of Survivor. Like, I would have really liked to see a lot more of Erica and Heather too. And we didn't get that. And I think we were kind of robbed. And so is she. So, but then you can overdo things like Michelle Fitzgerald, for example, got tons of confessionals for no reason in Co Wrong.
Hey, I mean, that was before I was really knew about that, so I was stunned when she won. Then I was like, "What is happening?
Right.
Where did this come from? How did she be Aubrey and Ty?"
I
So
know. And then other people were like, "Of course she won. They
yeah.
gave her 10 confessionals about hamburgers or whatever." Like,
I mean, one thing. So, do you watch any international Survivor?
all of it. No,
Okay.
I haven't seen a few South Africa, but
Okay, because I think South Africa is the most interesting because they're all about the story, and oftentimes they lead you to the tribal council knowing the outcome, but it's all the story of how things got there. And so it's always interesting when they do have blindsides per se, because they're very much so focused on the story and what the players are doing and thinking to get to that point, which I find very refreshing.
yeah, I like that too, and I don't like doing it because I want people to be surprised, but I always tell the story in the next episode. I'll be like, this was cut out of the previous episode. Here's why this happened.
And so the reason why I lead you this path, talking about your skills in the editor and how you comprise like the scenes in your footage, looking at Surviving Bloomington and looking at what we've seen of the cast as a whole through the season, do you feel like there is a winner's edit, or do you feel like there's a person that we're being pointed to as the winner by what we've seen?
I don't. It's like maybe Casey is misdirecting on purpose. I have no idea how he's going about this, but if I were, a person with expectations about it, I would say like, okay, Casey wants us all to like Jordan and Jordan wins. Like that's what I would think. It's based on like the background music and the confessionals, and we're not getting.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
speaking of background music, Rosie's confessional theme this
Yes.
episode.
Yes. I was like, why is he getting the dodo music?
Yeah. I don't think that's always been there, because I think you mentioned earlier, which I love, that
Yeah.
Mia had her own theme, right? It was very much like, and that was always kind of her theme. It was this kind of this lighter, upbeat theme. And this is the first time I noticed Rosie in this theme. I'm just like, that's not what I'd want my confessionals ended with.
I know, yeah. Yeah, that to me, it's either complete misdirection, but I don't know why he would do. I mean, Casey's a really creative editor, so who knows, right? It could be part of the whole art of surviving Bloomington. But I mean, if I were to do that, I would be like trying to get the audience, the viewers, to feel something, right? So I want you as a viewer to think Rosie is a little naive for doing this move with Jordan and is a 0 vote finalist.
Good news, this tag is Adam approved.
We knew you
Because if last episode was then Adam made everything complicated, this is, and then Adam made everything complicated again, part 2. Which could be
Not
the finale, who knows?
It could be the finale. I called it though, man.
So is there anything overall about the episode you'd like to talk with, or do you want to just kind of dive right in?
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Okay, so we launched straight into the Muni Challenge, and this is likely due to just the breakneck pace of the game, given that it's 4 days, a lot of vote outs. We want to have players have time to strategize, so it's better just go in the challenge and give players time to kind of figure things out once we know who's immune afterwards. And this is a diabolical slide puzzle challenge. Have you done a lot of slide puzzles, Taylor?
Just on my phone, like on the little apps. Yeah.
Okay. But so you're familiar with how to solve them, right?
Yeah, the algorithm. Yeah.
It's pretty much a way you have to move the pieces. Essentially, if you have a top row, you have to get pieces 3 and 4 in simultaneously, else that you're never going to solve it.
Yeah.
But this is beyond your standard, like, here's a Survivor logo in a 4x4. This is a very tricky monkey with decorative edges.
Flame here, a flame here, and the edges. Yeah.
That it's not only not clear when you look at it what the puzzle should be, it's going to be very unclear like how those decorative sides should be, and we see a lot of players struggle with that. And so players have 10 minutes to work on the puzzle, and after 10 minutes they can run, like, I don't know, like 10-20 meters away to just look at Casey's phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're seeing the answer, like what the picture should be, or some sort of vaguer hint, but they can get some sort of visual reference.
I hope it was just a picture.
I think it was, to be honest, but it's pretty small on the phone, so like even if like you're like, it's not gonna tell you line for line how to solve things, I think.
Adam, tell us what you saw. We need to know.
Because Adam did run over. Yeah, it was weird because like Casey, like all players work on it. It's a challenging puzzle, and they get the 10-minute mark, and only some people run. Right?
Yeah.
Hannah goes over.
Griffin.
Oh man, Hannah, Griffin,
and Adam, and I think that's it. Like I know for sure Jordan didn't, because I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it was a complete pick.
Adam confirms it was a completed pick, and maybe there are other players who did, because like that wasn't caught. But it was surprising that players stayed put and kept working, didn't race over and say, "All right, what am I trying to get to right now?"
Yeah. Megan did, right? Megan.
Yeah, but it was just surprising it wasn't everyone all at once.
I know.
And it's clear, at least from as a viewer, like the two players whose puzzles resembling what we see the answer is the most is Griffin and Adam. Right? It feels like it's definitely coming down to them. Now, what were your thoughts on what Hannah was doing during this competition?
So at first I thought she was cheating off of Griffin.
Same, which I was like, good for her.
Yeah, I was like, go Hannah. and then I think what it seemed like was that she was just like, I'm not getting this. He's really far along. I might as well help my ally, because she really wants Adam out. So I assume that's what she was doing in the end, was just trying to help him. And I think other people picked up on that too.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Sophie Clark in South Pacific, where she's telling
Hit on my
Albert like
pieces.
exactly. It felt a lot like that, and I mean, how comfortable do you feel like you? How comfortable would you feel doing something like this in a challenge?
If it's a challenge that I'm terrible at
Mhm.
and my ally is in second or third place, I would absolutely help. If I were Albert, I would have picked up Sophie's fucking pieces. Hannah hates me, and no one
She would
hates me.
vote for you if she could. That's how much she likes you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so so I think we'll talk. What was interesting most is just kind of the fallout from this, right? It's not something people just kind of shrug off and say, "Yeah, whatever." It's something people really internalize. Say, "We're worried," and here, and this is one of the pieces of why we're worried about Hannah and Griffin together.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed Jordan talking about it more than anyone
Yeah.
else, I think.
Well, I think that was the only person we really saw talk about because Jordan, like, we knew Hannah latched on to Jordan, kind of identified her and said, "This is the person I need to work with and go far with," right? And I think I had been kind of assuming that kind of like relationship was still there, and this was kind of the first thing we saw. No, not quite the case. Like Jordan's moved on.
But yeah, but maybe not fully. But it does seem like Jordan's number one is Rosie and number two is Megan, I think. And so maybe, Hannah's just not a priority anymore and they haven't been working as closely for a
Yeah.
couple rounds.
I mean, I think as always, Jordan is sitting pretty, right? Jordan has strong relationships with Megan because Megan's no one to turn to. Rosie has a great relationship with Rosie. Hannah's been relying on her. I think Adam is being forced to rely on Jordan. I think the only person that Hannah does a relationship that Jordan does a relationship at this point is Griffin, as we
So bye,
predicted.
Griffin.
Yeah. Anyhow, so it's neck and neck, but Adam ends up beating Griffin just by a split second in the call. And he takes immunity. And I think one of my favorite things is I loved when Casey kind of gives these like fun facts during
Yeah.
the challenges that like Adam's only vulnerable twice his previous season, never like at final 10 after final 10.
It's
And
nuts.
this season he's only been vulnerable since like what pre-final 10 as well.
Yeah. It's nuts, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm taking him with me to the casino, man. Adam, I'm coming to get you.
And it makes me wonder, like, man, given that that track record was known to other players, like, it makes me even more impressed that he wasn't so quickly targeted as a result. But it's just hard to believe that someone goes on a run like that twice.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, the odds are not in his favor, and yet they are.
And so, if Adam lost, was he gone?
I think so. I think so for sure. And especially now at this point, I forget who it was. I think it was Jordan, Rosie, and someone else were
Megan.
talking about him and how like now Adam could really win. Adam could really get a lot of votes in the end. So we're not just going after Adam on this witch hunt for no reason. Now it's like he's really more than a physical threat. He's a winner threat now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a chance Adam doesn't go home. I mean, if Griffin wins, maybe it's just hard to say how much Hannah's desire to vote on Adam exceeds her desire to do something beyond vote on Adam.
If I know Hannah, and I don't, but I feel like I do, and if I know Hannah, then she was only voting for Adam.
Is this a heart? Her heart says vote on Adam, or her head says vote on Adam, or it's
I
like
think they both do.
both said vote on Adam.
Her gut. It's her gut, Steven.
Oh man, I feel like we keep seeing these snippets of the two of them going off and talking, and I just desperately I want one of these conversations to know what they talk about at this point. Is it all just like fake, absolutely fake, because like they know they're not working with each other, but they're playing nice anyways.
BS, yeah.
Oh, man, anything about this challenge, or just like any hypotheticals that this challenge could have led to?
I don't know. I mean, I was like, is this impossible without a reference? Before they were allowed to look, I saw it seemed like Griffin, Adam, and Jordan were the ones that were the farthest along and had kind of got the to at least an idea that the two decorative sides were going to be there, right? And so when Jordan didn't go look at the reference, I was just like, what are you doing? And maybe they just didn't want to win because they didn't feel like they needed to. Oh, you did look at it.
Yeah.
We didn't see
Jordan
that.
says IDK the algorithm to solve slide puzzles. So
Okay, wow. Well, you did a good
yeah.
job at the beginning. Okay, all right, okay, then I forgive. So yeah, I mean, in that case, it was like gonna be Griffin or Adam no matter what. And if Adam just had a little bit less luck, then Griffin would have been okay. And I think Adam would have gone home. But I like I said, I don't think Adam made anything more complicated. I think Adam continued on his path of immunity victories. And I don't know if it's gonna continue now though. I am predicting that it will come to an end.
So we see Rosie, Megan, and Jordan really come together.
Yeah.
And they say, like, let's link up, let's work together. And they decide we can't vote out Adam, so it's either gonna be Hannah or Griffin, and between the two, Griffin's a bigger challenge threat, therefore let's keep Hannah, vote out Griffin. And if we're concerned about Adam making a run to the end through challenges, was voting out Griffin a big mistake? Because clearly Griffin can give Adam a run for the money on puzzles.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. And maybe, because they're only getting peanut butter and tortillas and Gatorade, maybe their brains aren't working. But no, that's a great point. I think because at first I was like, oh no, not Hannah. And then they went to like, well, Griffin is harder to beat in challenges. And I was like, yes, perfect. That's why you should keep Hannah easier to beat in challenges. But yeah, that's a really good point. If you want Adam out, and they probably still do, you want someone who can beat him. And like, not many of you have beat him at anything. So
and I think I definitely think Hannah isn't a challenge slouch either.
Like, oh no.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I need to go to the Survival Challenge 2018 wiki. Because I don't think Hannah won any challenges that season, but I need to double check. Okay, yeah, Hannah did not win any challenges that season.
How far did she go?
She was 4th. Granted, they merged at 9 out of a 24-person cast, so there wasn't a lot of challenges to be had. And she wasn't a slouch in the team challenges. Just like when it came to individual media challenges, there were some pretty strong challenge prowess people in that small merge. But I don't think Hannah's a slouch when it comes to challenges. It's just like if people are voting off challenges and you're concerned about the mental components, Griffin nearly beating Adam may be a plus. Like, maybe we should keep him around.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, devil's advocate, if you're Jordan and you're running things right now because you're the puppet master, and Griffin is not voting with you, he's the only one throwing your name out. You got rid of the right person.
And I do agree with that, because she does say, like, this is the only person who I don't have a connection with. Like, why I'm keeping around? I haven't trusted them for rounds at this point.
Yeah.
And Megan's game would be better with Griffin in it. I think Rosie's game is agnostic to which of the two. Yeah. Though I think Rosie's, we'll talk about it later, I think Rosie's game would have preferred both of them staying in the game. Yeah. But strategy overall seems straightforward, where there's just a decision like Griffin likely doesn't have anything. We're going to vote for Griffin and move on from there. And Hannah and Adam are kind of looped into the plan later on.
It seems like Adam wasn't looped into the plan until
last moment.
Tribal Council, when they steal his vote. Yeah. Okay.
which surprised me because maybe there could be an argument like if Adam is this big looming issue and we're concerned he's going to sneak his way to the end through challenge victories, what I think there's an argument to say let's try to disarm this player by making sure they're being strategically impotent, right? That none of their votes matter. They don't know who's going home, right? And so if Adam was blindsided with Griffin going home, right, that kind of shows, hey, he's out of the loop. Do you really want to vote for the winner who didn't know what was going on in this game?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that was their plan, or they had that?
No, I don't. We didn't hear anything like that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that there is like how to deal with a bin driver gen who's just getting to the end no matter what you do. You try to cut them out of the loop. So yes, they're playing idols, they're doing advantages, but none of it matters to the game as a whole. You play around them.
But they didn't tell him. It was like he had to find out because they stole Griffin's vote. So I don't know. If it wasn't on purpose, maybe it wasn't. But at least I don't know. Maybe it was in the back of their minds. I don't know. Okay.
I don't know either.
Try to give them too much credit.
Yeah, we know they have like an hour because Megan's like, I'm gonna be off idol hunting. Is there anything about the general strategy you kind of want to highlight or talk about this episode?
I was surprised at how straightforward things ended up being. I was like, when are they gonna throw us off here? Like, because usually there's a plan and then something happens and then another plan happens, right? So I was kind of expecting that. And then I was like, oh, maybe the like shocking thing is that someone's gonna play their bullet and get safe. And I had totally forgotten that the advantage was steal a vote. I thought it was just an extra vote. So when they stole his vote, I was like, oh man, he can't even play a bullet now. I don't know if he had one, but he couldn't, right? I think he was the only person with one or maybe
Hannah had one that she handed off to Megan, right? And so I think Megan maybe had 2 bullets or something like that. I should have been tracking this whole season. I've been too lazy too. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this advantage, the shot in the dark is done, right? No more after final 6.
It's done after 6. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think that's how it is in CBS servers. So I was imagining it'd be the same here. Brief eulogy
for the bullet.
Best twists I've seen. Like this is kind of done what Fire Tokens was trying to do, is creating a survivor economy where players are bartering or using and making the most of it. All right. Adam confirms Griffin had lost his bullet earlier.
Okay.
Griffin lost his bullet and found it in his car a week after the game.
It was like in his sock or something.
Wow. Wow. I have no words. He
just lost it. Okay.
In his car, I mean, this is like cars are dangerous places in Survivor games, and now you know they eat your advantages.
Why are they allowed to go to their cars? Or maybe it was afterwards. Okay, I don't know.
But builds the whole, love the trading, love the strategy around them. This is so much more dynamic than what we've seen in CBS Survivor, and I would love to see this adopted by other games or adopted by the CBS Survivor as well.
You should watch Surviving Maine season 3.
There you go. Give me a pitch. Why should I watch it?
There are also they're not bullets, but they're shots in the dark that are exchangeable.
Okay. Do you feel like do you think is the strategy with them better than what we see in Surviving Bloomington, on par with Surviving Bloomington, or people don't make as good use of them as they could have?
Here's the problem with the shots in the dark in Surviving Maine is no one knew they were transferable until someone just did it, and then production was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing, we're gonna allow it.
There you go.
Fully confused after this happens. They're just like, how did this person get another shot in the dark? What's going on? And it made for a fun episode afterwards. But yeah, that's how it went in Surviving Maine. Not nearly as intricate and strategic and fun as Bloomington. Yeah,
but a good shock moment for the players of like, wait, why do they have 2?
Yeah, they were so confused. It was so funny.
Okay, that's awesome. Things I need to watch. I guess strategy-wise, I think things I want to talk before we start going player by player. I think we need to talk. Well, two things. When Rosie and Jordan play their amulets, Jordan gets the extra vote.
Yeah,
How did?
why?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was like, this is my fault going back watch. Like, why did Jordan get the extra vote over Rosie? Like, how is that decided? It's because Jordan walked up first.
Right. Was it the same amulet? Was like, did she have a key and he had something else? Was it the key that
Or
gave
they
her more
just
power?
decided like, hey, who wants it? And Jordan's like, I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah, I was wondering that too, like, "Oh, why does Jordan get it?" And then it made the, like, dodo music for Rosie. I'm just bossy,
Jordan says,
really?
I'm just boss. That's why I got it. All right. So,
So the dodo music for Rosie is just like
I mean,
he's
do
just
you
being
feel
pushed
like
around by Jordan.
we were robbed of a great moment of Jordan going to Rosie, say, Jordan, can I have your amulet? And sorry, Jordan going to Rosie saying, can I have your amulet? And Rosie says no. And refusing it to let Jordan use it, and then blindsiding Jordan.
No. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, and then I guess finally, Rosie, what do you think is going through Rosie's mind this episode?
I am so confused about what he thinks his end game is.
No, we know his end game. It's with Jordan and Hannah.
No, but like, what does he plan? That I know that, but what does he plan on saying at a final tribal to get people to vote for him over either of them? I want to know what, because I just
Well, I feel like he saw a bit of it, right? Where we had this confession where he's like, I'm under the radar, but barely. But I'm doing a lot of dirty work. And we get this montage of him fist bumping every single player in the game and showing like that he has these working relationships with them that he's been leveraging.
I feel that a fun montage, yeah.
It was a fun montage. And I thought that was a helpful way of kind of seeing like this is his social game that's been at play.
Right. I still just like
but how is he gonna and while I like the argument, how is that gonna trump Jordan's argument?
Right, because isn't it I don't think Rosie's gonna vote out Jordan. Like, I just don't see that happening. And so
nope.
He has to know that Jordan's doing the same thing, but a little bit more visibly. And that matters. The perception of other people really matters. So
I think in a world where it's Griffin, Hannah, Jordan, Rosie, final four, Jordan doesn't win immunity. Rosie might just say, "Well, this might be it," and turns on Jordan then.
Yeah,
but we're not we're not going to have that.
We are not.
And so unless it's like Meg and Jordan, or Megan / Adam, Jordan, Hannah, and Rosie final four, and either Megan or Adam wins immunity, then maybe Rosie's hand will be forced to turn on Jordan.
Yep. I mean,
but I don't. So, but answers. I don't see anywhere where he votes out Jordan final five.
No, I would be shocked. That would be very surprising and fun to watch. But I don't think it'll happen.
Because he was the linchpin player here, right? Because he has half the steal vote. If there's any flip that's going to happen, like he is that swing number, right? To go with like Hannah and Griffin and maybe Adam. Because if you're Adam, like maybe you're open to voting out Jordan or Meg. Actually, you're probably really open. If you're Adam, you're probably happy voting out Megan.
I think Adam's plan fully going into that tribal was to vote Megan.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what he was talking about with Hannah off in the woods. So
yeah.
Just once they were on the same page.
And so it really felt, we know from Hannah's final three of Griffin, Rosie, and Hannah, which is the same as Griffin's final three at this point, that should also be Rosie's final three. And you'd think like, yeah, they would just link up, but Rosie's just not on the same page. There's this relationship with Jordan from their prior season that's really shaping his game right now.
Yeah, and so I love a loyal Labrador like Rosie. But yeah, if correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you don't even know, but I think that in the last season, Jordan and Rosie were like gonna work together. They like wanted to work
Mhm.
together. Somebody was in a minority, and then Jordan gets blindsided, and then like Rosie follows soon thereafter because he didn't work with Jordan, but he wanted to. So I think like he's maybe latched on to that game and like, well, now I need to stick with Jordan
Mm.
no matter what. And he has this loyalty, and is that past is blinding him to what he really needs to do to win in this season.
Yeah. So Rosie came in 7th. Jordan came in 9th that season. So
Mhm.
it was pretty close, not quite back to back. I mean, I remember we get a confessional a couple episodes ago where the two is saying like, we really messed up by not working with each other last time. Let's rectify that here and make things
Yeah.
happen. And I think we're seeing the results of that, which has been interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I mean, he I'm not Kingmaker's not a right nice way to say it, but he was the deciding vote for how this vote was going to happen, and he was just in lockstep with Jordan and had the other half of the sealed vote, and that kind of was it.
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Well, do you want to move on and talk about just kind of walk through the players, what their end game should look like?
Yeah, let's do that. Anything else to say about before we do that? Anything else to say about Hannah giving Megan the bullet? Do you have any thoughts different from what I already shared?
I mean, I feel like Adam's in this game solely because Jordan gave him that one extra bullet several episodes ago, and that ended up being the bullet that got to be safe, right? And so I feel like we giving someone your bullet is surprisingly more dangerous than expected. However, for Hannah, I think it kind of does two things. I don't think you mind if Megan takes a shot in the dark. I think you don't. I don't think you mind if Megan loses her vote. I also think it can help maybe prove some loyalty or some relationship that Hannah can parlay with through the remainder of the end game, and maybe it allows Hannah to say, "No, I totally voted Griffin, and Adam voted Megan." Like I just gave my shot in the dark. Why would I give my shot in the dark and vote for you? So maybe it gives her some yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great unintended outcome for Hannah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And given that the advantage is expired, I don't mind using it in the last second like that. They're like,
Yeah,
surprised it didn't go to Griffin.
it didn't occur to me that this was the last round they could be used.
Mm-hmm.
So, that makes even more sense for Hannah to say, "Hey, don't vote. You don't need to vote, Megan. Here's another bullet."
Well, I think there's also could be this where Hannah got that bullet in a very public manner, right? We see a lot of players
Mm.
spotting it secretly in the voting booth. She gets in the auction. Everyone knows she is an extra. Megan comes at the news, or like, I'll be Hannah, you'll be Megan. Say, sorry, I'll be Megan, you'll be Hannah. It's like, Hannah, I'm really worried. Can I have your bullet, please? What are you supposed to say if you're Hannah?
Yeah. "Oh, Megan, don't be worried, but yeah, you can totally have my bullet because 'cause
Yeah.
I'm not voting for you."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're kind of trapped because, like, if you say, "No, Megan, I'm not giving my bullet, but it's fine, don't worry about it," and Megan's like, "Uh
No.
oh."
No, yeah. No, Hannah's smart, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this makes sense, Steven. I like your brain.
So Hannah just might have been trapped by propriety,
Mhm.
and just forced to found herself in a situation where I have to hand it over to make Megan trust me, to make Megan like me, and I can't get it. I can't get around it.
Right.
So note to self: ask everyone for bullets in the next game I play. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't ask, you never know. Um,
Okay.
all right, so when looking at Adam and where he is, we don't hear much from this episode, but we know
Yeah.
his final three is likely him, Jordan, Rosie. Anything we should say for how he gets to the end?
Adam's only shot at getting to the end is winning the next 2 immunities,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. I think Adam's dream would be Hannah going out at Final Five. I think Hannah going at Final Five really makes it hard for people to take Adam out at Final Four because then people have to look at Megan and say like,
Yeah.
"Would you rather sit next to Adam or Megan?" It's like
Oh my god.
where do we go?
Wow.
What about we've talked about this? Anything else we want to add to Rosie and what his endgame should look like?
Yeah, I think his chances of winning plummeted this round by getting rid of Griffin.
Yeah.
Because now no matter who he sits next to at this point, if it's a final three, um, I don't see him getting many, if any, votes.
Yeah, I thought Rosie could have a strong case next to Griffin and Hannah, but I
Yeah.
think next to Megan, Jordan, or Adam, I think it becomes a lot harder. And I think his game is going to very much be put as like an aid. He's going to say like, "Well, you really propped up their game, more
Yeah.
than ran your own game."
Mm-hmm.
Still liked his confession with him fist bumping everyone. That was kind of good. It was a good way to see his social game in action. Honestly, it's been very impressive with how unwilling people have been with targeting him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a good guy who's easy to get along with, right? Like, I want to play with Rosie.
Yeah.
I want him to do everything I say too.
I love to go to end with Rosie. I felt like we actually did get some really solid Megan content this episode.
Yeah, more than last time, I think.
For sure. And we start getting a sense of what her final three could be. And she's like, it's me, it's Jordan, and I don't know.
Yeah. Can she beat Jordan?
At this point, it's hard to say. I think if you're Jordan, you don't mind sitting next to Megan. And say, like, I used Megan as this giant shield deflector, the duo I did, and then I brought her to the end with me.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, I guess if you're Megan, what should her final three look like?
I think Megan should want to sit next to Adam.
Really?
Because he's the one throwing her name out, like that she's the biggest threat in the game. So if you're Adam and you're sitting next to the biggest threat in the game at the end, then you have failed, right? So that's your argument if you're Megan. So Megan and Rosie would be ideal if I were Megan. I mean, for Megan, Adam and Rosie would be the ideal.
So you're saying anyone but Jordan
and Hannah? Yeah. I mean,
okay. And do you think Adam, there's anyone he shouldn't sit next to end with? And the answer is Megan.
Megan and Jordan for Adam. Yeah. Okay. I think Jordan could still beat Adam.
So theoretical power rankings right now, like Jordan beats everyone.
I think so, but I mean, I don't know these jury members and like their relationships and what are they really thinking? Like, I want to know that stuff, and it's impossible to know. And I don't know if everyone loves Jordan on the jury. Is it just me? I love Jordan.
Loser Ponderosa content. We demand more.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. And like, I kind of want to talk about the jury later on, but even then I'm like, I don't know. We've kind of seen little bits when they exit, but no good sense of what the jury is thinking overall. But we can just spitball. Perhaps Jordan has the most win equity. Next up is Megan. Third is Adam. Fourth, Hannah. Fifth, Rosie.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds good to me.
Okay. And I did enjoy, like you mentioned with Megan's confessionals, she talks a lot about how Adam has shifted this target from him to her, and she gives him a lot of props for it, which is fun to hear.
Yeah, it is nice. I love the good sportsmanship, sportswomanship, sportspersonship in Bloomington.
Yeah, Griffin. We knew his final three is him, Hannah, Rosie. Was there anything Griffin could have been doing in this like post challenge scramble that helped him?
I think he was doing like Griffin's so smart. I was just impressed with him, especially post merge, post him getting back in the game. I don't know that he could have done anything else, really. And even if they hadn't got that extra vote or stolen his vote, even if they hadn't stolen his vote, I don't know what he could have done, right? But to have your vote stolen, you're just totally screwed. He was just completely screwed.
I wish we had a scene of him talking with Rosie, because like Rosie was the key player here, and I wish we saw him to like I want to be in the end with you. I want Hannah to be in the end with both of us. We need to make that happen because I think we have a struggle sitting next to these other three. Can we vote? Are you willing to vote Megan or Jordan? And then I'd love the hero to say no. Or I don't know, maybe Rosie plays nice and pretends and then still doesn't. But I would love to have seen these two have a conversation.
We did see them have a conversation though, right? And Griffin came up to it's just that Griffin wasn't saying the right things. So maybe that's where Griffin could have done something more. I don't think it would have worked, but the conversation they had was Griffin was talking to Rosie about blah blah, and then Griffin kind of walks away. Rosie turns around and spits and then looks at the camera and says, fuck, because he's just kind of lied to Griffin. Do I have the wrong person here?
Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at my notes. So it's like I have like, Griffin kind of says like it's between Jordan, Megan, or himself. We need to be a 4-2 vote. We see kind of some parts of it. But we
He's
don't get
not
this.
explaining why this is good for Rosie. Like, that's what you have to do when you're like, you need to explain to the person why it's good for them. And he didn't do that for Rosie because you could. Like, he could have, I don't know. But I don't think it would have worked.
I think it's a 4-day game. It's very time compressed, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of free time. I just really wish we had seen Hannah, Rosie, and like Griffin come in and say, we need to be a final 3. Like, we need to be there with each other, and this is how we need to get there.
And there's no opportunity for those 3 to get together and have a conversation. That's the terrible thing about these, fast-paced LRGs. I don't think that the 3 of them ever were alone anywhere in the woods.
Because I would love for the 3 to recognize, like, we need to be at the end of each other, and how are we going to get there, right? And I think we see Jordan, and Megan, and Adam really capitalizing on the fact that this potential opposition is scattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the few players we have no sense of their final 3 is Jordan. I don't think we...
I feel like we got a little bit more of a sense, but only what she's telling people to their faces.
Yeah.
Maybe not what they really think, right? Like, you're my number 1, Rosie. Megan, you're my number... I don't know if she said to Megan that you're my number 1, but it was something like...
To Rosie, I think she did.
Yeah, definitely to Rosie. It seemed, though, that, like, why else would Jordan be trying to save Megan so hard? Other than, well, no, because Griffin wasn't working with Jordan.
I don't know if we don't hear this from Jordan, but definitely, like, there's a world where it goes Megan or Adam 6 and 5, Jordan 4, leaving Hannah, Rosie, and Griffin at the final 3. And so her clipping Griffin here opens up a spot in the final 3. And I think if you're Jordan, you just need to make it to the end. I don't think you care with who you're with at the end.
No, there's no reason to care. You beat everybody.
And maybe, Adam is just a little bit threatening, given he is just like the big target, right? And so maybe you say at the end of Megan, it's just say, and like you have Braun loves her because she parlayed this great relationship with them. You have her original tribe like respects her as well, and I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going to talk about the jury now? Because now I'm having
not
thoughts.
quite.
No, not quite. Okay.
Let's talk about Hannah, and let's talk about tribal council, then we'll get to the jury.
How could I forget Hannah? Okay.
So this was a quiet episode for Hannah, and likely just timing and probably capturing the confessional more than anything else.
Yeah.
But what does Hannah do? This is such a bad situation for her to be in.
I think you're just so right that she lost some agency by not getting her target out at 7 and not being able to really make any move at 7. So, like, what does Hannah do now, right? And if you're Hannah, you want to keep Griffin, you want to get rid of Adam. Of course, he's immune again. You want to get rid of the next biggest target. And for some reason, Hannah really likes Jordan and that thought doesn't enter her mind, I don't think. I don't know if Griffin ever came to Hannah with this idea, but yeah, I mean, Megan is who you go for. And so she made the right decision. And if Megan had lost her vote by playing the bullets, then Hannah made an even better move. But whether or not Megan got a safe, I think Griffin still would go because of the stolen vote.
You know, maybe she needs to sit with Megan at the end. I think
Tell
like
me more.
I don't know. It's like I think she needs to she blindsides Jordan at Final Five, right? I don't know how you do that. It requires not voting Adam, and it requires getting Megan or Rosie to flip somehow.
Hannah's good, but she's not this good.
She finds the idol and idols Adam and votes Jordan out with the minority vote. It's gonna be something really bizarre, stupid to happen. But if she can claim ownership of her Jordan going out, then I don't think she needs to be afraid to sit next to Megan.
Absolutely. I mean, same if it's Rosie getting Jordan out, right?
Yeah.
I don't think either of them can do it.
I mean, we know there's an idol. We don't know there's an idol. We know there's a chance of an idol somewhere in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if they're done. I wonder if there's one that's too hard to find and no one's ever going to find it, or if they're just done in case he's like, nope, I don't like that many idols in my game.
I honestly could see that that amulet advantage idol being the last idol. And maybe going back to arguments you could sway Rosie. If Rosie, I wonder if Rosie was tempted at all. If I vote out Jordan, I have an immunity idol I can then use.
It seems like he wasn't tempted at all, right?
Yeah, which I'm
and that's the dodo music.
I don't know. Is there anything else you think Hannah can do at this point in the game?
I don't think there's a big move left for Hannah to make here.
We hear Hannah in the preview for next episode saying, I think I'm an end no matter what, right? Which I think is a strong realization to have, is I'm sitting in the final. Everyone wants me. I'm sitting there. And so how do you capitalize the most on it? And all I can think of at this point is the person no one expects, the person who's sitting on top must be heard that. And if you're a target, you're a target, because I'd rather be a target at Final Four than coast the Final Three and struggle, I guess.
It's true that a lot of people wanted Hannah in their final three. So she's right there. So if she knows this far in advance, then she could be thinking about what the best argument to make at a final tribal council would be. And if it, I think it can be done.
Yeah.
No matter who she's sitting next to, I think it can be done if she's good enough at speaking and can spin a story. She would have my vote even over Jordan,
because she has probably one of the best stories of the cast. Right? Yeah. She's the only non-returning surviving Bloomington player with no connections who weaseled her way through a dangerous pre-merge where she was constantly decoy vote, integrate herself in this tribe of strangers, one touchy subject, found out, knew more than everyone else themselves, and got her way to the end. Right?
That's the story you tell. Yeah.
A great narrative. Now, I mean, it's the problem is it's more catchy to say if you're Adam, everyone gunned for me, everyone came after me, yet here I am, right? That has maybe a little bit more pizzazz. I don't know.
Maybe, but you could also, I guess nobody was coming after Hannah even when she was the decoy boat. But she was sneaky the whole time, and she could say I was working with you, but guess what? I was also working with you and you and you, and you didn't know that I was working with him, and you didn't know I was working with you. So that could be better too, because Adam wasn't really working closely with anyone. Right? Yeah. Megan, who was one of the first jury members.
So I'd say tribal council was pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward, yeah.
We see the amulets played, stealing Griffin's vote. We see everyone hunting for advantages in the voting booth, per usual, and finding nothing this time. And the vote ends up being 5 votes Griffin, 1 vote Megan, with Hannah casting the sole dissenting vote. And I don't think we got a sense of, did she know that she was in the minority, or is she just refusing to vote Griffin and just wants to vote Adam? I don't think we get a great sense.
Yeah, I am a little, now that I'm really thinking about it, I'm a little confused by her vote for Megan. Why would she put herself in that position? Because the only way Griffin doesn't go home is he has an idol. and they were pretty close, so maybe she would know if he had an idol.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought that it was that Adam was the only one who had voted for Megan until the votes were revealed at the end.
Mhm.
Um I just don't know. Like, what
Yeah.
is Hannah thinking with that?
Yeah, and I don't think there's gonna be a lot. I'm not worried about the blowback from it, at least.
No, it's true, and maybe that's her way of saying to Adam, like, "See,
Mhm.
I'm with you, Adam. I voted for Megan. Why didn't you vote for Megan?"
Well, with Griffin going out, we break the trend. All merged. We went brains, a brawn. Sorry, brains, brawn, beauty. Brains, brawn, beauty. No, hold on. Yeah, brain, brains, brawn, beauty. Brains, brawn, beauty, and then another. Oh no, I keep messing up. So beauty. It's late.
Get it together, Steven.
Blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow. There's a trend of like we had Devonta go first from the beauty tribe, then Megan, then Stacy, Boogie from the brains tribe, Mia from the brawn, Dallas from the brains,
Okay.
and then Griffin from the brains broke out my nice colored
Okay.
trend I have in my
Okay.
notepad. I was just like, that's so pretty and well done. And we even saw that pre-merge too. We had a similar trend like that going until the purge of the brains tribe happened. But let's talk a little bit about our jury, right? We
Okay.
have 7 people in the jury, 2 more joining. So we're going to have a jury of 9 with the final 3, which always has a little danger, but I'm not super concerned about that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they're going to vote.
Me either. Oh my god. I was thinking about like votes for Adam, if Adam's in the final 3.
Mhm.
And I think like Megan for sure, probably no matter what from
Mhm.
Megan. Just the vibe I get
Yeah.
from Megan. And then I would say like maybe Boogie,
I think
depending.
Devontae could as well, considering like
Yeah.
they were butting heads at the beginning. So I think out of respect of like he might get Devontae's.
They seem to have a weird relationship, like a love-hate relationship that I don't understand. Maybe there's some sexual tension, I don't know.
I don't think Stacy will.
Uh,
I
I agree.
I know Stacy from the one I know from Stacy's votes in the past. I don't think Stacy would. I think Stacy would be very amenable to Hannah's story and the stories of other players. This is
Mhm.
Adam's response to you. Who knows?
Maybe. Ooh, don't be such a tease. I want
Um,
pics.
I have no idea what Mia would do.
Oh,
Uh,
Mia! Um, I don't see she really respects Adam.
mhm. And, but they were butting heads in the game, so I
Yeah.
and
So
then
if he's sitting next to Jordan or Hannah or Megan,
mhm.
I think, Adam's chances of getting, Mia's vote are very low.
Yeah. So I see Adam easily getting 3 votes. I mean, if Rosie magics his way on the jury along with Jordan, I think he has a shot. I think he'll get Rosie's vote. Um, so
Oh, yeah,
I think
maybe.
yeah. So I think there's some people we could probably say locked in. Um, what about Megan Sparky? Do you think she
Uh,
gets all her original Brains tribe?
Depends on who she's sitting next
She
to.
gets Dallas. I think she always has Dallas.
I think so too. Um, the thing you never know, though, especially with a player like Megan who has never made Final 3,
Hmm.
is how are they gonna do under pressure explaining their game?
Hmm.
Because we had a situation in another LRG, I won't name names, where someone who was playing, like, one of the best games just kinda completely flopped in Final Tribal and ended up getting no votes,
Hmm.
which was, like, shocking, in a way, but not in another way. But, like, if
Yeah.
you can't tell a good story and, like, answer questions in a way that make people feel good about
Hmm.
you, you can't win. Now Megan, un I think, makes people feel good when she talks to them, so I
Hmm.
don't see that happening. I
Hmm.
think Megan can tell a good story and get people on their side, so So never mind.
Yeah, it's looking at this like, yeah, like for sure think that she has Dallas, but I don't know about the everyone else. It's like I don't know.
It really depends on
Yeah,
who they're sitting next to and yeah, how well they can talk.
because like if Jordan's there, I can see Jordan getting Devontae's, I can see Jordan getting Stacy and Boogie and Mia and like and like if Megan makes the jury, Megan's voting for Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if
I
Adam's
think
in the jury,
Rosie.
Adam votes for Jordan.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um, Now, Hannah, we've heard some people be really positive about her game in the exits. I think Griffin would be open,
Yeah.
Mia, Stacy, Devontae,
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
and then
Mm. It's gonna be a really good finale no matter
Mhm,
what happens, I think.
mhm. Yeah, because I think players likely are going to hopefully walk in being pretty open.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be much bitterness going on.
Mhm,
Um, and I think obviously a deserving player is gonna win, and I'm
mhm.
really excited to see it because these are really what a great final 5. Like, can we just it was a great final 6, it was a great final 7, it was a great like, let's be honest, it was a great what a great, season.
One more argument for why Hannah should put Jordan in the jury is putting
Okay.
Jordan in the jury has someone who's seen her game start to finish, and that can be a very good, really strong stump for her.
I hope Hannah sees that. I don't know that she does.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rosie, you want Adam in the jury because Adam can be a really strong person who can argue for you as well.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
you're Adam. You want Rose in the jury because that's a vote.
Yeah.
um,
Unless you're sitting next to Jordan, and then
yeah.
Rosie's probably a vote for
Well, let's
Jordan.
be honest. If you're Adam, you probably want Jordan and Megan both on that bench.
Yeah. And for not just because you can't beat them, but because I think they would both vote for him too.
hmm
Mm.
So we already kind of did a power ranking of like winner equity and tier list, but so let's talk about the player of the episode, the Bloomy. Um, I have a clear player in mind. Do you have a clear player in mind?
I do.
Does your player rhyme with Schmorden?
It rhymes with organ. No, that's yeah, we have the same one again.
Okay, Jordan. I think this is the first time that Jordan has gone
2 in a row.
back-to-back weeks sweeping from both the guest host and me, and this is Jordan's third Player of the Week award. But
Is that more than anyone now at this point?
um,
Are they tied now?
I think with 6 that puts Jordan. No, with 7, Jordan got the Player of the Week episode 1 from the guest host.
Oh, wow.
So I think that puts Jordan well in the lead of everyone. I'm looking at my list. I'm like, I should have calculated this better. So yeah, I think Jordan's solid in first place. I mean, do you want to wax poetically about Jordan's game this episode? Or do you want me to wax poetically?
You go.
I mean, Griffin going helps Jordan the most. I mean, it helps Adam. It helps Megan Sterling, but it helps Jordan the most because Jordan's biggest challenge is going to be Final Four. And I think now this solidly opens up the spot for her. Now I think it's gonna be we might be in the world where Megan's the biggest threat, Adam's the biggest threat, Jordan's the biggest threat. But I think Jordan has opened up avenues in the room for her. She took out the last person who is not connected with her. I mean, she's roped in Rosie to the point where Rosie's getting a little satirical. A little bit of a satirical music when he's talking about his confessionals, and she still got to use the animal advantage to steal boat to submit who she wanted to go home. I mean, it feels like we're moving into Jordan's game to lose territory.
Yeah, and I don't know, Casey, if you meant to do this, but you have given the winner edit to Jordan. Now, it could also be the fallen angel edit, right?
Yeah.
If Jordan goes in 5 or 4.
Yeah,
But
I think
this episode, like, you can't give it to anyone else.
I mean, you think about like Jordan's evidence like some amazing soft power, and it has really leveraged this being a returnee all-star season with linking up with Megan early on, using those idols to preserve themselves, which at the time I was like, I don't know if I feel great about this double idol play. Has a
No.
lot of play, gets the merge, ropes in Adam and Rosie as this. She brings in the Braun Alliance after Megan gets voted out and really claims it as her own. Has really like carried that as this great side alliance. Has given her so many options to navigate this game to the point where no one throws her name because she's such a pivotal piece to everyone's game. It's kind of a masterclass.
It is. And you know what I just remembered is doing the cast assessment. A lot of players in their like intro videos were talking about how they wanted Jordan to be one of the first ones out. Like Jordan's a threat to watch out for. And here she is in Final Five with all that coming into the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bravo.
It makes you wonder how this game would be different if you didn't have the 3 wild cards of Stacy, Hannah, and and Connor. If her tribe didn't have Connor and Hannah, how things would have evolved differently, and would she not have been able to hide around like having these kind of interlopers in the game? I don't know, but she's played amazingly.
Yeah, fun to watch.
Well, we don't have an episode next week. We have a week off, and then we get to the finale, and we got a little finale. I know, right? Making us wait. How dare he? But we got a little bit of finale preview, and we need to kind of walk through the nicknames for the players.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say the player the nickname, and I would like you to tell me why that's their nickname. I can put this on you.
Steven, why me?
Because I thought it'd be funny to make you do it.
Oh, God.
So first off, we have Megan, the Dominator.
Yeah. Okay. Megan dominating this game and dominating the minds of the players. Megan living rent-free in all these players' minds. Is she really the biggest threat? I don't know.
But the players have talked about her as if she is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so maybe a less nice would have been like Megan, the big target, right? Megan, the front runner. It could be another way to describe her perception.
She was dominating a big alliance but then, they all got taken out.
She ran the front of the merge, then Jordan took that from her and cut off all her allies. We even hear her talk this episode. It's like, man, I keep losing everyone I'm working with. And it's the point where all she has is Jordan, which is great for Jordan.
I know.
Adam, the survivalist.
Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect one for Adam. He's only surviving by winning these challenges, really.
Now, is he thriving and surviving, or just surviving?
I think he's barely surviving. If he had a better social game, or I'm sure he has a good social game, but if it had been better earlier, and if he had maintained those relationships that he just kind of didn't, then he would be thriving. He's just surviving, though.
So do you think that at the final 8, where there's kind of the blow up at Tribal Council, where players Megan and Jordan are actually upset with him at the time when he's saying, do you feel like, that was only a couple hours ago. Do you feel like
God.
I know, right? Do you think that fallout will still be there at Final Tribal Council and people will want to address it, or do you think that'll have washed off by then?
That's so hard to say. I mean, it seems like just from doing confessionals with people in these games, like that their memory is kind of short when it comes to that. Like it does seem like days ago when these things happen. So maybe it is done and over with.
Hannah, the mole.
The mole. I love that so much. Isn't she in the Mole, Ohio too?
Yeah, I think she was the mole in the Mole, Ohio.
No, I need to watch that.
That's how Casey met her. I don't think we can watch it, or at least I don't think there's anything public out there.
Oh no, really? Oh man, I see things on Instagram about it.
Maybe that's my problem is I don't have Instagram, so I don't get to see what's out there on it.
Okay, so the mole. I mean, yeah, I like this for Hannah, not just because of the Mole, Ohio, but she did kind of mole her way into like all these different alliances, and no one knew, right? Like very few people know what she's doing. being a part of every single group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Jordan, the puppet master.
Definitely puppeteering the marionette that is Rosie, and at least in this episode. So I'm so sorry, Rosie. But Jordan has been, pulling the strings the past few episodes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another great one.
And finally, Rosie, the double dealer.
Fist bump.
that was a wonderful setup for kind of like we've seen Rosie's social game. It's really come out in the last couple episodes. And I think this is the first time it's kind of taken a bit of a negative turn with like he's aiding and abetting Jordan. But just seeing the fist bumps and seeing him work those deals and situations with players was pretty great.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that this term, the double dealer, is like foreshadowing of the finale where he actually does double cross the puppet master and gets Jordan out in 5th place, maybe 4th, so that he ends up sitting next to players he could actually have a better chance of beating?
Again, like if he finds the idol and casts like the soul votes or casts like one of the 2 votes to take Jordan out final 5, I mean that would be phenomenal. But I think the problem is like, can you really make a quote unquote big move at final 4 where it's like, nope, this is kind of inevitable?
Far too late. Yeah.
I mean, if this was a season with the final 2, right, I think things would be much more dynamic. Where I'd say like, we could still see Hannah and Rosie at the end, and then it'll be really interesting to see those 2 games in contrast.
Mm-hmm.
But a final 3 opens just up a lot more doors.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder for a player like Rosie.
Well, I don't think I have anything else about the episode I want to talk about. Is there anything you want to bring up?
No, I just love Surviving Bloomington. I love Steven. I love Casey. I love the cast. That's all.
Taylor, your prediction was so spot on at the end of the last episode of what went down. I need to hear how does the finale play out?
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is what happens at Final 5. Megan wins immunity. Adam gets voted out. I have not thought farther in advance, so now I'm going to be talking straight out of my butt. Final 4, Jordan wins that immunity, and Megan goes out. Final 3 is Rosie, Jordan, Hannah. Jordan wins in a 7-2 vote. Is there 9 on the jury?
9 on the jury.
Yeah. That's my prediction for the whole
Okay. Yeah, I think Adam and Megan going out may end up being interchangeable. It could be Megan first and Adam. Adam wins final 5. Megan goes out. Adam loses, is the fallen angel of the season, and Jordan nearly sweeps at the very end.
Okay, so similar predictions then.
Similar. I think I would love to say Jordan goes out at 5, Adam goes out at 4, and it becomes Megan, Hannah, Rosie, or maybe like we live in a topsy-turvy world where Hannah 5, Rosie 4, and truly all bets are off.
Yes, I mean Adam in the final 3 would be super entertaining. It would just be like, what is this? And then if he wins again, come on, give me.
I mean, and like I wonder if there will be any pushback, because we heard when I think it was Dallas's exit confessional, he was like, we're only 5 seasons in. It's too early to have a two-time winner. Like, I want to see Adam in the jury next. I wonder if that's going to be on people's minds with who are you voting for the winner. The answer is just Adam's just too good. We can't ever let him play a 3rd time because he win again.
Could be.
Now, Taylor, I have an important wrap-up question for you from Adam. Do you like him more since the cast assessment?
Listen, Adam, I was not a fan of yours. That was very clear. You still are very arrogant in your confessionals. But I definitely have been converted to an Adam stan. Big red. I'm big red all the way.
All right, let's get that up there. Well, I think we're about to wrap up. Taylor, I don't think we've had a chance. Do you want to give us a final pitch for Surviving Maine for those who have not had a chance to watch or haven't heard of it before, what they should know?
Surviving Maine, a 4-day game played in the Maine woods in the middle of nowhere, filmed by me and 4 other queer people, with a host who's also queer. uh, Half of the cast almost was even queer. It's a very queer show, Surviving Maine. No food, none of this pansy ass Gatorade and peanut butter. They get 1 cup of rice per tribe for the whole 4 days. And great cast. If you like little treasure boxes at the voting booth at Tribal, yes, Jordan, you should watch it. If you like tiny treasure chests at the voting booth at Tribal, like in Surviving Bloomington, you will also like Surviving Maine. We have the same little props. It's so weird. It's so weird to me. And I mean, just a fantastic cast of people who know how to play, who know how to give confessionals. Person writing the music who's just such a great composer. Yeah, Surviving Maine on YouTube.
And we know the players can't lose their shot in the dark in their car.
They cannot.
So therefore, the advantages are protected against their own possessions. Well, Taylor, I was so thrilled to have you back for 2 weeks in a row. I've been very spoiled with that. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to talk through with me about Surviving Bloomington, episode 13. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in tonight, or if you're listening to this in another day. But the finale is coming. Have your predictions ready, and I'm sure this cast will deliver.